Good morning. I'm Walt Bartman. I'm the director of the Yellow Barn Studio at Glen and the Greenhouse Studio in Oatlands, which is in Leesburg, Virginia. And we run classes. At the Yellow Barn, we have about 60 classes a term, and at Oatlands right now, we have like 17. Due to the coronavirus, we've had to go virtual, and I think that we want to show people and students and interested people that might want to take a class how simple it is to kind of navigate through Zoom and to work with your instructor. And honestly, we've been doing classes now, the winter classes, we had to make them up. And we had to really learn a lot about this, all right, this platform. But it only took about a week before you really, get used to it. So I think that for a beginning student, it isn't as hard as you might think. And I feel that really, truthfully, students that might be concerned about this approach and working with this technology, they shouldn't be. They should really be understanding that it is now something that we have to do, but at the same time, it's going to be a real important tool. Now, I have Elaine Nunnally with me, and Elaine is an instructor at Oatlands and will be teaching at the Yellow Barn as well. And Elaine, I just want to have you say hi and introduce yourself. Okay.
Hi. Hi. It's nice to be part of this. I'm very interested in this, and I'm learning too. Excited.
And you have many years of experience teaching, right?
Oh gosh, yeah. I even though I retired a few years ago, I taught for 40 years high school art in Loudoun County, and I absolutely loved it. And I teach adults now, and just recently closed my studio, and because of we're in the middle of moving, but no one's doing anything right now. But to be able to have this opportunity to continue to teach my students in this way it's exciting. It's new for me, and so I'm really looking forward to it.
So Elaine right now is sitting for the first time on Zoom. And I want you to understand that she's going to be learning just like you are. One of the first things I'm going to ask her to do is mute her microphone. And if she has any questions, she can always unmute it. Mm-hmm. And the reason is she has a cat in the background, all right, who might want to say something, all right, at the time that we're having this meeting, all right? So, yeah, so we can, you hear that we can both speak at the same time. If we're going to do this and we're going to do it well, we want to really control how people interact on this platform. So Elaine, can you mute yourself, please?
I shall. Oh, wait.
There you go. So now Elaine's muted and I can go on with the presentation. All right, one of the things I just want to show you is that there are a lot of tools that you can use, and students may not realize how well the instructor can see the work. But I have right now and I'm going to tilt my platform here to show you, oops, because I have this on a tripod, okay? I want to show you that I'm using a camera on a stand that I had in my garage, which by the way is just an old easel stand. It has a tripod, and there's universal fittings, so you can see that I can take this camera stand and I can position it anywhere I want and get a close-up of the work that I might be doing in the studio. Well, students can do the same thing, and I think that this is one of the things that you need to know. So how do you do this? Well, first of all, you sign in on Zoom, all right, with your computer, and I think that this is what I have right now. It's set up this way, all right? And then you sign in with another email address. You get an invitation. I'm the host, so I host the meeting, and I'll send out an invitation with a URL that you can just click on, and it will take you to the site of the meeting. So you can download Zoom, all right, which I recommend, and become a member of Zoom, and it's free. And I also recommend that you get join YouTube and get a YouTube account, all right, so that you can actually see some of the videos that might be private because of copyright problems, all right? And I think that in education particularly, we can show images and give credit, of course, to the people who've produced the work. If it's, you know, you come in, you have it, and you can just share it with your students. So it's like a one-time kind of thing. And I think you know, you can't sell videos, in other words, that have other images in them that are owned by other people. So I think in education, you know, we're about trying to give our students, I think, a clear understanding of the arts. And, you know, there are so many artists now. So in any case, the two platforms, Zoom and YouTube, they work really well together. And I think that the thing that is important in working with, you know, these platforms is just understanding how to work with them. So we're going to teach you a little bit today, and hopefully you're going to learn a lot. And, you know, from there, you know, we'll, if you have any questions, you can always get in touch with me at walt@yellowbarnstudio.net. All right. So let's go here and let's just show you some things. So I have a still life set up, and I have a swivel here so I can show you the still life, or I can use my camera and show you the still life. The thing is that's important is that you understand that when we are doing this, all right, it's controlling how you're seeing the presentation, and you can do the same. So what have I got here as far as equipment? Well, truthfully, if you want to be on Zoom, all you need is your computer and you need a camera and you know, and a microphone. And the microphone's built into your laptop, so you should be able to talk and see the members. All right. So as I mentioned, I have my camera. I have you know, I downloaded Zoom app, the Zoom app on my camera, and I have it to a different email than the one that I have right now that you see, where you're seeing my face. And so that in that way, I can send myself at my other email address an invitation, and I become a member as well as I become the host. So I think this is one of the things that you can do. And if you were painting in the studio and you wanted your instructor to see what you were doing, all right, this would be the way to go. All right, you can see how I can position that. So it's not a problem. And because it's on a tripod, if I decided I wanted to show you the still life, I could go to the still life. All right. So as an instructor, you know, and I was doing a demonstration yesterday for a class, and I was talking to them. I gave them a color lecture, and then I gave them a painting demonstration on how to see color. So I think that I'll continue a little bit on this today so that you can see how this works. But you're going to see that it's a great way of teaching people. All right. And I honestly think I'm more in touch with Elaine right now because I can see her and I can talk to her. And if I have any questions, I can ask her and she can answer. So I think that this is one of the things that's very, very important. What do you need? You need a good internet system. That's the problem in some respects, because people will be on the third floor away from the router. So the closer you can be to the router, the better. I've upgraded my system to gigabyte. All right, it's supposed to be the fastest residential speed for internet. And I also bought these. I'm a member of Comcast, so I bought these pods that they sell, and they can go in different parts of the house and actually boost they're extenders. They can boost the reception. All right. So I think that you know, might look into something like that. Certainly just buying an extender that you can extend your own service would be a good idea if you're working in your studio. And we're encouraging people now to really work in their studio. I'm doing classes where I give homework, and students during the week, they work on their homework. And I'll show you this in a few minutes, okay? So now the next thing I'm going to do is I'm going to explain to you some other tools that I have, all right? One of the first things, no matter what you do, is to plug in I have a number of extension cords, and truthfully, those extension cords are for one for my computer, all right, and the other is for my cell phone. I have experienced when I'm giving one of these presentations, I haven't paid any attention, and my battery runs out. Okay, so I think it's real important that you understand you can keep these going. All right, but the other thing is that somebody asked me, well, I'm in a landscape class. How can I take my phone outside and then not expect it to run out of battery life? Okay, and I said, well, you can get one of these battery chargers that actually, I have one that actually charges 2 cell phones completely, all right, with that little battery charger. So you can prepare yourself before you go out to have that. But the other thing is that you don't always have to be in a meeting. Say we have a 2.5-hour class and you're working on something, or you have to take a break. You can always leave the meeting and come back. And I think this is one of the things that gives you a lot of opportunity to be flexible. And the other thing that I think is real important is just to understand that, one, I'm recording this, so you will be able to see this video again. So if you had to go somewhere and couldn't see the video, see my presentation, you would be able to pick it up on YouTube. I actually upload them to YouTube, and then my students can see the presentations that I make. So I think this is one of the issues that could come in as a problem, but actually is a blessing. And I think that you wouldn't have that if you're taking a normal class. It wouldn't be taped. All right. So if anything, one that you see here is you see a really clear interaction with the instructor. You see the student, okay, and you see the artwork. And I think that you can see all these at the same time, simultaneously. You can't do that in real life. And when an instructor walks around the room, based on the lighting and things like that, things are not always ideal. And I know when I give lectures in the classroom, I put them up on a big screen TV, and people, depending upon where they are, if they're 15 feet away, they don't hear the audio like you're hearing it right now. So there's a lot of advantages to this. And I think that if people understand, once this is mastered, all right, the instructor learns how to do this. And we're teaching all our instructors at the Yellow Barn. So I think that this is one of the things that's very, very important. So let's take a look at some of the things that I have. I'm going to take my cell phone off, or actually I leave it on the tripod, but I'm just going to show you my setup for how I'm doing the lecture right now. And that is, let's see, okay. I have a tripod that I have my laptop on. And you can see that it's clamped, all right, securely. And I think, but you're going to say, well, what tool are you using to hold your laptop up? Well, I go in the garage and find all kinds of things. I come from a generation where we collect everything, all right? Not the new generation, of course, but we have all kinds of stuff. And I had an old shop light that was sitting in the studio, and there it is. And you see what I can do with this camera. So, on my cell phone. So ideally, this is important. Now, if you're going to use your cell phone, by the way, you need to turn off just your volume. I think that if you do that, you won't have any competition between me talking and the cell phone hearing and echoing my comments. But this is the simplest way that I have to do this. And I think the importance of this is that you're seeing, how I'm working, and it's relatively simple. And I'm in my studio. So if I was to say, okay, what kind of things do I have behind me? I have all kind of paintings that are sitting on the wall. All right. And, it's a mess, the studio. All right. So just know that, because I'm really trying to keep the studio clean. But right now I've been working in the studio, so it's sort of like a studio. All right. And then you can see I had a light here that I have an extra little light to give me some color, but I can see the still life as well. All right. And I can do, like I said, take this outside. And we're all, right now we are in a situation where we have to work at home. So you're really close to the internet. If you want, you could take your laptop outside on a stand of some sort, or even position it somewhere, or it could be on your painting. And me, I would just sit there and watch you paint. You don't even have to talk to me. But if you decided that you didn't want me to hear anything, all right, then you would mute yourself. You understand? So if you had, you like to sing to yourself or something like that, you don't have to worry. I won't have to listen. All right. So now let's go back to this. All right. If I was to do a demo, I'll put the camera off to the side here so you can kind of see it. All right. But if I was to do a demo, I'm going to set my studio up so that you can see and I can see, and I can make it as close to what is possible for you to really recognize what's going on. If I was to work in my, talk about making a painting, and this one, by the way, I started with a lecture on color, and we were talking about the color of the light, and I did the underpainting in blue, and then I went after the warm colors. All right. The thing that I'm doing now is I'm measuring my colors off of a certain element in the painting, and I took the red that was here, and that was what I called my unit of measure. So I do a lot when I'm teaching painting on how to measure, okay, and measure color. So if I was to do the next piece of color, all right, it might be something that involves looking at the colors and then recognizing what's going on. For instance, and I'll just do one piece here, but I just want to show you how I can work. All right. I have this red here, and then I have this red over here. This red is about this value. When I squint, it's about this value. So I didn't have to do much to it. But the other red is a lot lighter. So if not a lot, but it's considerably lighter. So I measure that, and it's close in value to the other red, but I want to squint, and I want to measure that color combination. And I'm very much a shape painter, so you can see how clear the shapes are. And I mean, the impressions would just be touching. But here you see how I've kind of filled it in a little bit more solidly. All right. But if I felt a reflection there, or if there was a piece of red over here, then I would look at that, and I would try to ask myself questions like, how light and how dark is it? How warm and how cool is it? And how bright and how dull is it? And, I'm going to be working around this painting so that eventually, and I'm not going to carry it much further, but to just say that if I feel something dark up in here, I'll put it in, and I'll look first for its value and its shape, and then I will look for its color and what I mean by the intensity. But I will be measuring this all off of here. All right. And so this is how I teach my students to work with color. And each one of these that I'm putting up here, I would be asking myself, which ones, these flowers, which one's lighter, which one's darker, which one's warmer, which one's cooler, and which one's brighter, and which one's duller. And I do that throughout the whole painting. And this helped me, by the way, to find how warm. It's interesting when you look at this cloth that's over here, all right, you tend to think of it as a violet and a dark, but really it's a much warmer violet than I realized when I first started putting it down. And, trying to find the right color combination, I'm going after the warmth of that violet, and you can see it here, and you can see what it's doing against the green. So that's the demo, all right? The thing about it is I can lecture on it, I can move back and forth, all right, very clearly, all right? And I think that for a student to watch this, hey, it's great, all right? So now the next thing is, if Elaine was working in her studio, she would be set up in a similar way. I would be working with her. We would have questions like that, all right? This is very simple. You see right now up to this point, we really haven't done anything that's complex. So you don't really have to worry, but you do need to understand how just to set things up, get on Zoom, all right? There are tutorials. I will have them up on my website, walterbartman.com. You go to the yellowbarnstudio.com, you'll see them, all right? But there's one tutorial that was made on YouTube that is really quite good, all right? And then I have a tutorial up there now that isn't as good as this one, all right? So in a week, I've come a long way, all right? And so now we're gonna replace that video with this one. So, but it is teaching you how to work, all right? So now the next thing we're gonna do is, you have a toolbar, and if you log into Zoom, you're able to control everything as to the way you want to see it. And one of the things is whether you want to see the toolbar or not. Some people don't have the toolbar up because they're not into the settings on their personal account in Zoom. But if you go in, you can see where you can make the toolbar visible. If you are on the cell phone or if you're on the iPad, it works a little differently, and you have to become familiar with it. The cell phone obviously is small, but you can have a toolbar at the bottom, and you can set that in your settings for your cell phone. So I think that you know, these are the things that we want you to recognize and be able to bring you know, the tools that you can use. Now we're going to talk a little bit about the toolbar. There's one thing on the toolbar. There are little icons. First of all, one is mute. It's a symbol of a microphone, and if you looked at it, if it's green, it means it's not muted. All right, but if it's red, it will indicate that it's muted. And Eileen has a or Elaine has a red you know, symbol, which means that she's muted. If you were to ask yourself, well, what is it that I need to do? All right, let me show you the toolbar. First of all, I can do that right now this way too. All right, by looking at my computer, you'll see the toolbar at the bottom. All right, and it's not that clear, but it's clear enough that you should be able to see it a little bit better. All right, here. Okay, and at the toolbar on the far left over here, all right, is that little microphone. Here is the video. Next to those are two up arrows. If you are having any problems, all right, you can go to those up arrows and you're going to see that you can select the microphone. All right, and it tells you exactly what my microphone is right now. But if I had a plug-in microphone, it would show up here and I could select it. So you can actually plug your microphone in, all right, as well. And then after that, you want to see what system it's where the speakers are. Well, the speakers are on the obviously on the Mac. And then if you want to test your speaker and microphone, all right, you just press this, and it gives you. And if you hear say yes, and then the other part of it is like this. All right. So so those are the settings for the computer, and if that's working, fine. If it's not, down below is audio settings, and you can go into your audio settings as you see up here. All right, and that is where the you know, if you're a member of Zoom, you will have this opportunity to adjust these things. You can adjust the video, you can adjust the recordings, all right, and so on. All right, so that's the audio. The video is right next to it. It's a camera. It says stop video. If you hit that, it'll become red. All right, but here are your settings, and it says select the camera, and it tells you which one you have. Now, if I plug the camera in here, and by the way, I bought a camera that I will be using later as well, and it's this. All right, looks really wild. All right, actually has a remote control. It's a Logitech camera. It's not expensive. All right, and I can plug that in, and it's going to show up here, and I can select it. So I can go back and forth between cameras, or in the case I have the my iPhone, hey, I can use my iPhone. All right, so those are your settings, and again, you can even choose a virtual background if you want to. That would make things really weird. All right, but I can invite you. I can see the number of participants, and I can actually click on that. And if I want to mute everybody, I can do that, or I can unmute them. All right. And there's more to this. I can actually, you can see, I can mute people on entry. All right. And so on. Okay. I can lock the meeting, meaning that nobody can join. All right. And then next to that is screen share, and it's green. And that is what I will use when I'm making my presentations. And you're going to see this in a few minutes. All right. And then next to that is a little up arrow, and it says one participant can share at a time. All right. Or multiple participants can share simultaneously. So I think this is one of the things you want to control. I only want myself to be showing most of what I'm going to be doing. And then if I decide, I'll show you later on, there are advanced sharing options, again, on your Zoom, you know, your profile, okay? Then next to that is a chat button. That I can chat with Eileen, or Elaine, I'm sorry, call her Eileen, but it's Elaine, all right? And all I have to do is type something in here and then send it to her. All right, and this is to everyone, but if I wanted, I could actually make it just between members of the class. Now I control that, so I may want to do that or may not. The next thing is recording, stop and pause. I'm not going to stop and pause the recording, but that's the way that works. And then there is a reaction. If people like what you're saying, they can actually press a button and you might see something that helps you think that you're doing something right, okay? So the next thing is all the ways over to the far right is end a meeting. And that is when we just ended. Now up in the upper right-hand corner on my, you're gonna see up here, you're gonna see that it tells me the time that I've been doing this meeting, which is about 50 minutes. All right, speaker view and a gallery view. This is a speaker view, all right, and a gallery view. The other thing is next to my face here, up in the upper right-hand corner, two little blue squares. One is mute, and one is when you press on it, it says mute my audio, it says stop video, it says pin video, it says spotlight video. If I spotlight video, I'm the one in charge. Okay, and if I want to get rid of the people on the side, there are three little buttons here. You can see them. All right, and I can just hide it, and all of the people are gone. All right, so I can adjust myself, or I can put everyone on the video. All right, so now I'm just going to take Elaine off because we don't really need her in this part of the presentation. But what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go to what we call screen share. I didn't talk a little bit about or a lot about that, but this is the key, all right, to what I do. And I can share what's on my desktop. All right, so now I have two presentations. I have one on a collage presentation, which I'm not going to show, and then I have one on PowerPoint. All right, they're both PowerPoints. All right, as you can see here. And I can select those. So I'm going to share this PowerPoint. Oh, we want to get rid of that. Let's see if we can do, there's the PowerPoint. All right, everybody. Elaine, can you unmute your microphone and tell me that you're seeing this particular screen right now?
I am. I'm seeing it.
You're seeing a kind of a Japanese print, right?
Right.
Okay. All right. Well, we're going to go to some of the homework that my students did first. All right. Let's get rid of this right here. Sorry. I'm going to go to slideshow and play from current slide. And up, we're going to go back one because I love this one. I've been giving my students lectures on different subjects, and one of them is the iconic imagery of our time. And I've decided that this is the image that this is one of the images that one of our students painted. All right, and we'll give you an idea of what she's talking about. I gave them an assignment to paint masks, so you might see some with masks, but these are mostly some of the assignments that they're doing. So I usually give them a critique, all right, as to what they've done for me. And the last assignment was to paint flowers, all right, and you can just see the work that's being turned in here and the quality of the work, all right. And I give critiques on this work. All right, so this is today's group that has submitted their work to me, and I will give them a criticism of the pieces. All right, so this is gouache, by the way. This is my gouache class, and they have different assignments. And then I'm giving them the meaning of the symbolic landscape. And honestly, I think, when you talk in terms of my teaching, all right, a lot of my teaching is about, subjects that they need to know. And, this is one of the greatest symbols that we know. But what you probably may not know is that really the basic symbol for symbolism is a division between light and dark. And where there is dark, there is no image. And where there's light, light is making the image. So it's philosophical, and we get into this, and I show them things like this that came from the caves of southern France, all right, and we talk in terms of that symbolism first, and then we move on, okay? So now I want to stop sharing that screen, All right. So you can see that I can give a really in-depth lecture. I can see the students' work. I can give them a critique, and I can, just work with them one-on-one, and I can give demos, and I can watch them work. So, what is good about this? It really is quite a, a great platform. I think Elaine is watching for the first time. I'm trying to make her a believer. All right, got to understand this. I mean, this is the what I want to do here. I want to make sure I spotlight my. Um, let's see here. We're going to do pin video. So I'm the bigger one right now. I hope. All right. But Elaine, I want you to unmute your microphone now and tell me a little bit about what you've heard and what kind of questions you might have.
You mean just now?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Okay. Well, I'm quickly thinking, like, where can I get a tripod? Probably downstairs. There's stuff everywhere, and and as you were talking, I was wanting to follow along. I thought, oh no, don't, because I tend to do that. If I do it, I get it better. I love it. I just want to get into it right now and practice.
Good. So are there any, was I concise enough to get you started on it?
Very much so. And I usually have to write things down and stuff, but I didn't. But I'm thinking about some of my students and how this would work. They have to be computer savvy. They have to be able to do this.
Yeah, and I think the older generation of students, do have computers. They do have cell phones. All right, they had to learn them. All right, and this is a new platform, but relatively simple. You got to understand that a week and a half ago, I knew nothing about this. All right, I didn't even know where to start. I didn't even know anything about Zoom. No,
I can hardly believe that, because you're talking like an expert.
And well, I've gotten to be. I mean, it's really interesting. As a matter of fact, I'll be doing a lecture on Monday, April 6th, I believe is Monday, I hope. All right, because I'm going to do a lecture for the Montgomery County Art Association, and they'll have probably 100 people watching my demo on how to set up a still life, how to design a still life, and base it on symbolism. And then, which is interesting, it's going parallel to the lecture that I'm giving today. And then the next thing is just it'll be Monday night, April 6th, Montgomery County Art Association. You can look it up if you decide you want to see it. I think you have to be a member, but it's going to be well attended. And I'm not saying I'm a professional at this point. The thing that I think is the weakest link here is our internet connections. And everybody who's involved in this will have to have a good internet connection. They'll have to be close to their router. Okay. The thing that's I have these pods, like I said, that boost and extend things, but the weather has a lot to do with the internet sometimes. And I think that if you can get a better plan, but some of you have quite good at the internet, and I think that's not a problem. All right. So I think you're going to see that it's going to work. And actually, I have a lot of students who are signed in for these classes that I'm teaching. So we want to see people take more of these classes because they can see the benefit to themselves. All right. And I feel like Elaine said, you've got to learn it. All right. It isn't a big deal though. In a week, you will learn it, So Elaine's going to be a professional next week. She's going to make her own tutorial. All right. So
I will. And I mean, I have to go through this in order to learn it. It's pretty exciting. Occasionally, I want to just backtrack. Occasionally, the video will stop when you're talking, and then and then pick up. And I don't know if that's my Verizon plan or whatever I have, or if it's on my side or on your side, or it's just something that
it's usually on my side, but it can be anything. It can be something in the lines coming to your house. Usually, I've only seen it twice on here today, where it said the connection was unstable. This is an issue. I mean, we'll have to work through it. But guess what? Elaine can review this lecture, and it will look like I was never interrupted. So I think that you can review it over and over again. And I hope that you all will, because you'll see how simple it is. And if you have any questions about Zoom, there are tutorials, and like I said, there will be one posted up on my website. It's a very good one. And I think I sent it out to all my students and all my instructors so that they could see what it would be. But we're right now trying to talk people into becoming comfortable with this and enjoying this kind of approach to teaching, because this is all we have.
Yeah.
And I think we're fortunate, and I think that when people see how it can be used, they'll be there'll be believers. All right. So I think hopefully, in the future, this is going to be one of the things that I will do in my classes, no matter what. I've learned a lot from this period. Okay. Any other questions, Elaine, before we sign off?
No, it's been very interesting. Now I can look at this again. I mean, this has been recorded, but do I have to go on YouTube?
You're going to go up on YouTube, but this one is going to be public. So all you have to do is go to Walter Bartman. All right. And you'll see my channel. All right. And, just click on my channel, and this video will be public. So
okay.
I think,
Sorry.
go ahead.
How do I get a channel?
First of all, you just join.
I'm a member.
You join it. All right.
Yeah.
It's free. So it just says join YouTube when you go to YouTube.
Right.
And then you go and then you make a channel. All right. And you have that option in your settings and things like that to have a channel.
Okay.
All right. So everybody can have a channel. You can have your family up there. I wouldn't recommend it, and I wouldn't go public. Truthfully, we have an unlisted list of videos that we have, so that people are invited by me sending them the link to those. And then the other one is the private one. And the private one is when you're just really dealing with your class, and you just want your class to see something that perhaps you don't want to share, publicly. Nudes, for instance. I mean, we do a lot with nudes. These would be the kind of things that we would you have to be careful about, especially with younger people. So I think we're working toward all of this. We're learning a lot about it. We're answering a lot of your questions, and I think that we're ready to launch. All right. So join us, okay, at yellowbarnstudio.com. You can be in Hawaii. You can be in the Netherlands.
Well, that's the thing that I'm seeing ahead. I'm like, this is amazing because of the possibilities, and this is definitely the future.
All these people that are watching this video will have to understand that I picked the best, all right, instructors. Elaine is one of the best watercolorists you're going to find. You can see how easy she is to work with. Even the first time she's seen a video like this, she's not, kind of frustrated. She's wanting to learn this. So she's the kind of person that really is a good teacher. And I think that you're going to actually a great teacher, and you're going to be, pleased to work with these teachers that I have on our staff at the Yellow Barn. We have 35 instructors, all right? And we have like 10 or so instructors at the Greenhouse Studio. And Elaine right now has her classes on the Greenhouse Studio. It's called greenhousestudio.art. All right. Okay, so we're going to end the meeting, Elaine.
All right, thank you.
Okay, so here is what I do. I'm going to stop the recording.
Okay.
Okay.